So what would you do if your city was suddenly wiped away into a post-apocalyptic future by a giant tsunami? I know what I would have done. I would do the heroic thing and take inventory of everything I had on hand. Gather up other survivors and barricade ourselves within a building where we would live out our lives in a utopia for years to come. Or I would have just died. Yeah, I would have probably died. The Calm Beyond is brought to us by director Joshua Wong and stars Kara Wang, Serena Boggs, and Terrence Yen. A woman lives in plain sight in a ruined Hong Kong building after a tsunami destroyed the city. A castaway on a concrete island, her concealed existence is changed forever when a small child literally floats into her life. So The Calm Beyond takes place in a near-future Hong Kong where a giant tsunami has wiped out the entire city. And we're led to believe later on that it has probably wiped out much of the Earth. If not a tsunami, then something bad has happened across the globe because we are told that there's not much left out there. Honestly though, it could just be Hong Kong because we're never really given much explanation beyond that. Anyway though, our main character, Asha, played by Kara Wang, resides in the upper levels of a skyscraper that is above sea level. Yes, the tsunami that came and wiped everything out, it apparently rose the sea level, which I don't think that's how tsunamis work. Granted, I've never been through one, but I think they just come in, wreak havoc and destruction, and then the water goes away. But hey, in this movie, the sea level has risen and now she's in the upper levels of this building, and that's where she and a few other people throughout the city that she can see from afar are living. It's been years since this catastrophe happened. She's been living here alone, and the way that she's been surviving is that she's just been keeping to herself and not making her existence known to the world. Now, why would she not make her existence known? Why would she not call out to the people in the other buildings across the way? Well, the main reason why is because there are fucking pirates in this world and they ain't nice. Jack Sparrow, these motherfuckers ain't. Yes, periodically these pirates on boats will show up and start raping and pillaging everything in sight. But pirates aren't the only problem. Apparently there's shit in the water too. And I don't mean just regular shit. There's like something under the surface that will fuck you up if you leave that building. We never find out what these things are, but they're really big, they're pissed off, and fucking hungry. So Asha is stuck in this building, and you know, she's kinda okay with that. She's living her best life. She's getting water, she's making electricity, she's got a little bit of food, she scavenges for what she can, she's making a life of it. One day, a little girl shows up that really reminds Asha of her half-sister, who mysteriously is nowhere to be found, by the way. And this throws Asha's very methodical, structured life into turmoil, but it also possibly gives Asha's life some purpose again. So this is a post-apocalyptic movie, and I like me some post-apocalyptic flicks, and I thought the idea behind it, these people that are stuck in these buildings and that's where they're having to live out their lives, was pretty neat. And it is. I like seeing how Asha makes it work in this world, how she is living her day-to-day life. I like those kind of scenes in these movies where we see like where they're getting water and where they're making electricity and just how they're making it through every day. And we get that in great detail in this movie. I'm gonna go ahead and put this out right now for everybody to know. This movie is slow and it is not gonna be for everybody. If slow burns aren't your thing, then you may just want to keep walking on by and wave to The Calm Beyond because this ain't gonna be for you. Now, if you don't mind a slower paced story, then you might find something to like here. However, the movie's not perfect. I liked how they delivered the story to us. It's nothing groundbreaking or anything, but it is well done. As we see Asha making it through her life in this post-apocalyptic world, we slowly get flashbacks and little snippets to before the tsunami, and we find out where she's coming from. We find out why she is where she is mentally during this time. And a lot of these things from her past start to connect to things that are going on in the present, especially with the little girl, Hey. This aspect of the movie, much like the setup and the setting of the film, I really enjoy. However, once you get past the setting of this film, you find that there's not a lot about it that is all that original. We have seen this kind of story before. You're not gonna get many surprises here. That's not to say that the film's not quality and I didn't enjoy myself, but I just wasn't very surprised by much of anything that happened on screen. Like the end of the movie, there's nothing that happens in the end of this movie that I didn't know long before it happened was going to happen. The way things went down in the end of this film, I called around the middle portion of the flick. Or like the mystery of what's on the other side of this door in the building that Asha lives in. Hey sees it and she says, "What's in there?" And she gives her a cryptic answer. As soon as she said that, based on what we know about the character and what we've seen in the film, I immediately knew what the fuck was in there. And lo and behold, when we finally get to the point where they go in that room, that is exactly what was in there. And there's also quite a few other instances like this throughout the film. Now, all of that being said, even though I knew what was going to happen, there were no surprises in this film pretty much whatsoever. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the film. I did. I mean, I didn't enjoy it as much had there been some surprises for me, had I not been able to pick out what was going to happen at every single turn, but it was still a really well-made film that I did enjoy overall. Is it a story that we've seen before? Yeah, sure it is, but it's done really well and they were able to keep my interest all the way to the end. I mean, the movie could have probably dealt with a little bit of trimming here or there in the middle portion, but overall, none of it offended me. I didn't mind it, I was never bored. While it is a slower film, the pace is very consistent and keeps things interesting. Our performances are all pretty solid too. This movie does take place in Hong Kong, however, the vast majority of it is in English. And while I don't mind films being subtitled, it is a bit easier for me to detect a good performance when they're speaking my native language. Overall, even though this movie is a tried and true formula, you could tell that there was a lot of love and care put into this thing. This was a passion project for someone, I'm assuming director Joshua Wong, who coincidentally and very unfortunately passed away right after this movie was finished filming, but before it could release in December of 2020. Guys, The Calm Beyond was a pretty interesting post-apocalyptic flick. The story is one that you've seen many times before. It's a pretty slow burn, and there's not really anything that's gonna catch you off guard here. However, it does have some really solid performances, and while this is a tried and true story, you really feel the love and heart that went into this thing, and that makes it all the more entertaining and poignant, and also makes it absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
You have to return some videotape.
If you like your post-apocalyptic fare more like The Road than The Walking Dead, then check out The Calm Beyond one night. I think you're gonna have a pretty good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of The Calm Beyond. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Khan. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, post-apocalyptic Hong Kong. So on the subject of the pirates in this movie, I did have one issue with it. Not really an issue, just an observation. Were it me in that situation and I actually lived through the initial disaster and I was going through everything that this character Asha was going through, I feel like I probably would have handled this pirate situation differently. You see, these pirates, it's like 5 guys, maybe 6, that keep terrorizing this one area of the city. Whenever they show up, you know it. You got lead time before they get to you. And I feel like with all the spare time that this character, and if it were me, myself, would have on my hands, constantly waiting for these motherfuckers to show up and rape and murder me, I think I would like set up some type of like Home Alone booby trap situation to fuck these motherfuckers up. It wouldn't really be that hard. They gotta come up the same stairwell, you know, they're going through narrow halls, set up like some fucking spikes or mines or whatever. I don't know what she had at her disposal, but I feel like with all the shit that's laying around in this building, you could come up with something to kill these motherfuckers when they show up. I mean, I guess we wouldn't have a movie at that point because, you know, stuff that happens in the end and all, but, you know, fuck you, plot convenience. I want to see some post-apocalyptic Kevin McAllister and shit. I mean, seriously though, that would kind of be badass.